Anyway. I guess introductions are in order before I hit new game.
Yeah, we'll do a roll call, and then just you do a countdown.
Okay. Hi, I'm Keizaron. I play games.
I am Taraj42. I also play games, but often slower.
It happens sometimes. Anyway, I'll go ahead and count us down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So this is Battle Network 2, but we're doing it in Japanese.
Rockman EXE2.
No. Japanese. Japanese Battle Network 2. Respect America. Anyway, there really isn't much different about this game compared to the English release. There's one major difference in the run. Otherwise, you could do the runs exactly the same between both English and Japanese, and it would be the same timing. There are no differences in terms of text boxes. It's kind of bizarre. That's not what I'm used to seeing in any sort of RPG with language differences.
Yeah, almost makes me wonder, like, if the translation team had additional constraints to work under, and they just squished the text to keep it about comparable. Prof 9's onto them.
Anyway, we start the game off just right, you know, the usual, hey, this is how you pick chips and do tutorial things, and press A button to make chip do thing, and then sit there. Pretty standard. Also, I'm gonna turn my TV up one more volume. Hopefully it isn't too overwhelming. The call would hear it, but I'm hoping that the actual audio from the game will drown it out. I can barely hear what's going on.
Yeah, it should be fine. I will not excuse anyone from complaining about hearing Battle Network 2 music. To address your question, Prop, at least as far as the speedrun is concerned, particularly in any manipulation setups, the text boxes are equal. There could be differences in places where it does not affect the manipulation. I know Doisum, when routing out Battle Network 1, did a text box comparison for both of the games, and it was surprisingly even. So right off the bat, we're going to do some RNG manipulation for encounters in Den Area 1, because in this game, we need a few specific chips to help us do some program advances.
My finger slipped. I was trying to see what the chip draw I got was, but anyway, proceed.
Yeah. The manipulating random encounters is a bit more difficult than folder stacking bosses, because the RNG in Battle Network 2 advances on the title screen. So Keizaron needs to start within a specific frame window. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 10. It depends on the area and the setup. And then he'll get a particular encounter and has to look at the chip draw. Well, first, where do you get the encounter? And then 2, what viruses? And then 3, what chip draw? And combining all 3 of those elements has to figure out what his RNG is so that he can do the particular setup to get Guard Star, which is a chip we'll need later.
Something's like horribly off with these manips right now. I gotta wonder if I took extra steps and didn't even realize it. Or if I edited my folder right? I don't know if I did. I might have messed that up, to be honest.
I didn't notice you taking any extra steps. In Battle Network 2, is the folder ID sorted to begin with? I can't remember if it is or if it's like not ID sorted. Because you could just do an ID sort and redo the folder edit.
I can't remember, to be honest.
We're just 4 minutes in. You want to restart? Or do you want to just like YOLO it like the old days?
We'll YOLO it like the old days. It's all good. I have one. Yeah. I have one anyway.
Cool.
Plus, it's just this beginning area that seems a little miffed. I'll just double check my folder.
Gotcha. But yeah, I guess none of the other games has featured RNG manipulation yet.
The folder's right. I guess might just be because I can't hear the TV as well, so my audio cues are bad.
Gotcha.
Now this lovely thing, I have to get 1500 Zenny from this. And the timing for this is really annoying. I don't get offsetting frames like I do with the battle manips, particularly when I want to draw a specific set of chips, so I only get one frame that works. Pretty fun.
Yeah, so when you do a soft reset in Battle Network 1 and 2, it restarts the RNG. In 2, the RNG advances on the title screen. So Keizaron basically needs to start within a specific frame window and then pick up the green mystery data on a specific frame. The contents locks in whenever the text advances to the "you got such and such." And it is a one frame window to get the 1500 Zenny, which is important for the Zenny route because it lets us pick up an HP memory and some other stuff earlier. Because like Battle Network 3 earlier, your ability to avoid encounters is dependent on Mega Man's level, which in this game is based off of both your health and power-ups, which predated the Navi customizer.
It's really quite odd how they handled the leveling system too, because it's the opposite in terms of effectiveness compared to 3. So you need a higher level to be able to run away from a battle that you initiate than you would to use a sneak run to avoid the encounter.
Yeah, it's quite strange. Because in Battle Network 3, you saw Glenn ran away from most random encounters. In 3, it's easier to run from encounters than it is to sneak. Which I think probably... I don't know which one makes less sense, honestly. But in this game, you can sneak run from encounters, avoiding them completely before you can one-turn escape. If you can sneak run, it takes 2 turns to escape. But if you can first turn escape, you can also sneak run. So this is... We have to revisit this area because to get the Z license, we have to pick up hero data and hope data. So it's another opportunity for some guard star manipulations. Double cannon is like the worst thing that can happen to you. It's just the game being mean. It's like there is no chance that you're going to get a guard star from this encounter.
Yeah. So something about these manipulations is, if you notice, I'm doing not necessarily like specific things in the definition of like doing the same thing over and over, but like with that fight that I just did, I did 14 buster shots, and that's very particular because each buster shot advances the RNG by a little bit.
Mm-hmm. It's actually really neat, the things that you can get away with in Battles Networks 1, 2, and 3. Because the RNG advances once per frame on the title screen and once per frame in the overworld as Lan or Mega Man, but it only advances whenever it is used inside of battles. So things like the location of the hit particle of the buster shot is random. So every time you fire the buster and that particle appears, that advances RNG by 1. So you can use that to advance RNG such that whenever it makes the call to give you a specific battle reward, you get it from the drop table you want for that particular virus and the entry that you want, be it guard star or Zenny. Because without the manipulations, it's really just 2 coin flips. Did I get the right virus table? Did I get the right drop? And Keizaron is very familiar with the wrong side of the coin.
I was once a victim of 1 in 12 million.
Is that escape chip manipulated? I don't think so.
No, at that point in time, nothing's manipulated for that because I can just run away.
Elbow escape, yeah. Oh, right. Because as soon as you get that first HP memory, which is why Keizaron wanted the 1500 at the start, so we can get this even earlier.
Mm-hmm.
But Battle Network 2, was an interesting one because they're still figuring out, you know, how do we want to do this encounter avoidance situation, and they gave you both the ability to run from fights, which is new, and the escape chip, which is holdover from. And I'm going to be quiet because this is audio.
So what I'm doing here is I'm manipulating dash chips. I could manipulate dash star and dash G, but I'm a bit of a brat. I prefer having just the stars. It just makes it a little easier to deal with folder edits and stuff, especially when dealing with a foreign language such as this. You see me save as soon as I enter the doghouse, because once I approach these squares right here, there's 2 green squares, and right when I touch the corners of them, there's actually 2 encounters you could potentially get. That was way too fast. Fast as well. There's a 2-frame cluster I'm aiming for. Sometimes it's hard to get the timing down here. That first one was a lot more pretty than this one. Going way too fast though.
Too fast in a speed
I
run?
know. You're going too fast.
This game needs to...
Slow down, speed man. There we go, we did it. So same situation we were explaining before. So by bustering 3 times, I can actually get away with a 4th one as well, but by bustering 3 to 4 times in this fight, I change it from a dash D, I think it is, a dash D to a dash star. Yeah, they patched it live, man. However will I move on?
They patched my console game.
I knew I should have removed the Ethernet cable from my GameCube.
So this is the first dungeon.
Yeah, it's Alpha Comps Jr.
So we've got Airman, and basically the evil organization here, World 3. Battle Network 2 is actually kind of an edgy game. They do some real serious stuff, and to raise money or to fund their criminal efforts, they hold rich kids hostage, and to disable the poisonous gas, their parents have to pay them a lot of money.
Now what I did there was, you might have noticed before I did my first set of manipulations, I moved a couple of chips around. What I did there was I moved several chips around. That's actually the most complex folder edit in the entire game, both in the English run and in the Japanese run. What I was doing there was essentially moving around a bunch of swords. That way this Airman fight can go relatively quickly. It also benefits another fight that's immediately after Airman. Benefits a lot of stuff, really.
Yeah, the folder edits are probably the hardest part, IMO, of doing a manipulated run, and the most complicated and also the most important, because they're kind of the glue that ties all of the setups together. Without them, none of the manipulations work. They're also extremely fragile, so it is serious time unironically. Ironically?
Both, I would think. Yeah, back before there was a manipulated route for this, your focus was getting star code, B code, and G code, just so you could have really good folder flow. My folder's alphabet soup, because I only care about a couple of chips in a couple of locations. This is essentially a coin flip to get, because since I'm aiming for so many different chips at once, I don't have alternating frames that I could lean on.
Yeah. A neat thing, basically how they shuffle the chips and how they give you the random draws. Imagine when you start the game, it takes 2 copies of your folder and shuffles each once per frame. So it takes 2 chips and swaps them. And so it's got 2 simultaneous decks being shuffled and switches between which one it's going to deal from every other frame. So this is where parity comes from, which is why that like 50% of the time you'll get one draw, and 50% of the time you'll get a different draw within a given like 20 frame window. It's not something you'd notice in casual play, but is very important in RNG manipulation.
That very setup that we did, we're actually going to use in the next fight we do. The next fight we're going to do is Gutsman, because I like his chip. His chip's very nice. Very handy chip.
Yeah. Once we get to the next boss, which, spoilers, Quick Man, you will see the culmination of our RNG manipulation and folder building. Well, honestly, a teaser of what's to come, but you get the idea. Actually, no, this is JP, so this is the culmination of folder.
Yeah. Made an audio cue for this that's been pretty consistent for me in testing. Okay, well, I got 3 of them. It's good enough. We can work with that. So, I've mentioned in my practice streams that this manipulation is essentially less than 50%, and that's true and false. So what I mean by that is you can see how I'm pulling earlier frames than I would with the airman manipulation, because the cutscene is non-existent. Like, we have to go through the cutscene for airman, whereas with this, like, we have access to earlier frames, so we're only pulling partial S's if we go too fast. As long as I get 3 S codes, it's good enough to work with. So it's not as tight of a window to deal with, but you obviously would prefer the 5 S's. It would make it a lot faster. Now we want to do plot stuff. And I don't remember what the plot is. I'm a speedrunner. I don't know what plot is.
Yeah, so it's summer vacation, and Lan doesn't want to do his homework, so he's like, "Oh, I got an idea. Let's go camping." And he invites all of his friends, but all of them tell them no. And so he's like, "Well, I guess let's go take a government-regulated net battler test, because that sounds like a good fun time." And so now we're gonna go get our BE license. Oh, which involves some actually complicated setups, well, manipulations in terms of routing. And these are gauntlet fights, so it's a series of fights all in a row. And if we get the first one right, we should be able to carry folder stacking through the whole thing. But it is a thing to set up. Get it?
Pretty sure I did. There's actually a couple of alternative draws you can get, and if you see me Buster at any point in time, it's just to ensure that we go on the right path. Like, you're gonna see me Buster here, even though it's completely not necessary to win the fight, because it'll lead to fight 4 having a wide sword for me and either a guard star or a dash being better.
Yeah, but if you remember the alternating deck chip draws and the parity issue, in Gauntlet fights, the one nice thing is you can actually fix that, because if you can tell which deck you're drawing from, you can fire a Buster Shot to alternate it. And so you can draw from whichever one is preferable for the next Gauntlet fight.
And you'll see us utilize that throughout the run whenever there's more than one fight in a row. We have this gauntlet, we have 4 total gauntlets that involve licenses, and then we have the boss rushes toward the end. Boss rushes are actually really interesting. Well, they're more interesting in the English version of the run, because you have to deal with a lot more chips. This one we have a special trick that you'll see in about a little under an hour. There's a lot of constant folder edits, just tweaking things into certain slots that work better. And we're gonna do another edit here, for example.
I have no idea, Prof. I guess they probably just said, hey, you know, you make sure that they get random chip draws. And he's like, how could I do this? And then he just went really over the top and still didn't make it unmanipulable.
This fight's so good. I love this fight so much.
Yeah. So you can buffer your movement, and this allows you to start dash on a particular frame, and you can use movement buffering and chip buffering to get the triple kill with the dash attack, which is super sick.
So something that a former runner of this game, Montebank, something that he did was he was looking at fixing up the route a little bit and trying to cut out a PA that we're going to utilize soon. He was trying to utilize a different one, and I can't remember what he did specifically, but he went for a specific chip on that fight. I don't know if it's the one that I got, but he had to do that fight a certain way because he needed a certain chip for one of the gauntlets to go well.
He needed Little Bomb?
I think it was Little Bomb that he needed.
I think if you like S rank that fight, which we do anyway, I'm pretty sure you get it regardless. I don't think the code matters, because actually I tried to reroute this game for any percent, and I did get Little Bomb, and I used it on the double hard heads at the next encounter, because those guys are jerks. Yeah, his best background. Someone is a fan of Duck. Let me tell you about my Duck collection.
Okay, so this gauntlet sucks. It sucks so much. I need to see Wide Sword. I need to see Wide Sword. So this is where parity sucks.
I'm gonna say one word here. Consistency.
But it only took 2 tries, so you know, whatever. We take those.
I mean, arguably, if you only utilize one parity, then it gives you a lot more option. And there's a 50% chance that you get it. So, as far as speedrun routing goes, parity issues are okay, depending on your tolerance threshold for resets. Oh, I really like the fight. I think it was the third one that had the B tank, because it's like every time the B tank moves, it makes an RNG call about should I attack or not. And so you have to kill it after it starts moving, but before it finishes moving one tile to maintain the manipulation. Uh-oh.
No, it's fine. This is an extra turn. I upped before I aid. Clean fight, I promise. I was thinking of my next move before I even did my current move.
Keizaron's one step ahead of you, game.
He's one step ahead of himself, too. Man, that's a really common reset point in serious attempts of this. Because the parity is unkind, and the interesting thing about it is I've tried finding a way to fix it before, and it seems like a lot of the alternative frames don't really produce favorable results. Like the window doesn't seem as good as it should be. I don't really know how to explain it.
Yeah, no, there could be a lot of issues, and it is okay. Oh, we're camping now. Shout outs to Battle Network 2 Notes, bees.
The bees! So we combat the bees in, you know, any normal way that a 10-year-old would. We're gonna get some paper, get a lighter, and we're gonna get everything on fire.
Twitch chat, quick. Should we use one of the items we picked up, 2 of the items we picked up, or all 3 of the items we picked up?
Jeez, I'm not sure. Also, this is the worst BMD in the game. It's completely off-center.
It's off-centered.
Pisses me off so much. I just don't understand why it's off-center. I really don't.
You know what else really bothers me? In the airplane, that one blue demagnetizer that's just clearly too far
yeah,
over.
yeah. Like, see, look, this one's perfectly lined up.
Yeah. Oh, so this is a bear?
Oh yeah, bear!
It's okay. It's a cyber bear. We're fine. Welcome to Battle Network 2, everybody.
Rise. Yeah, you can kind of see the usefulness of having dash. Like, dash just really cleans up the early game a lot. It's a very, very important chip.
Yeah. I also really like this fight because I think it's the first utilization of Legendary Slot 2.
Yeah.
There's like a full 1.5 second window where you draw the second chip in your folder.
That's why it's 2, 6, and 9 that are really good.
Yeah. So we're gonna. We talked to a guy. He gives us a fish. We talked to an old man. He gives us. He chops some trees with his bare hands without moving. And then
pretty impressive.
Well, then we talked to this stranger, and she gives us a knife because everyone in Battle Network 2 is very trustworthy, very very trustable. Except now the dam's gonna explode, and it's up to a 10-year-old to stop it. Actually, 2 10-year-olds. Chad's got this though.
Good old Chode.
Load Chad.
Yeah, he used his bare hands. Spoiler alert, it was his mechanical bear.
Plot twist, he was the final villain all along. The mastermind has been revealed. Animatronic bears, right. And now there's just this, random PETs lying around. Oh, but, so, like, we had enough Zenny from the sub-chip guy there to buy 4 sneak runs, and all of the easily accessible HP memories puts us at 180, which is the exact amount that we need to sneak run. So,
no encounters!
Really convenient how it starts here. The gimmick for this comp is you're playing Minesweeper, and if you find any of mines, you get really sad because you lose like a full second. 60 frames at least.
I'll show one off.
What a sacrifice.
Actually, I know exactly which one I'm going to show off. I'll show off,
the one that blows up anyway.
Yeah. So there's, we go through 4 different bomb comps, and the very last bomb comp has 2 mines that even if you're not close enough to them to blow them up, they just blow up anyway, so you have to go out of your way. You have to, for one of them, you have to hug the wall in an egregiously far distance in comparison to everything else.
Yeah, its trigger area is much larger for some reason. But this is the reason that Keizaron is taking these roundabout ways through the areas.
Probably the same guy that put that BMD off-center. The jerk.
That coffee mug was, yeah. Was gonna comment that three of the... So there's these 4 remote bomb detonators. One of them's behind the waterfall, of course. 3 of them are PETs, and one of them is a canister. You know, because why not?
They're getting advanced now.
Yeah. Welcome to Battle Network 2, where you have to talk to everything to find out if it's a bomb.
Now, see, going back to the explosion area of some of these mines, you may notice that I'm going around to grab these BMDs from behind. If you grab them from up front, you activate the explosion, which is just silly, because as far as I'm aware, the explosion area is before the BMD. Like it's in front of it, or rather behind it. So like if you talk to it from front, you wouldn't think that an explosion from behind you would mess with you.
So we're basically walking over the explodey part to get the blue thing, and then walking back over the explodey part. Oh, and this is Speedy Dave. Shoutouts to Speedy Dave.
This is what I'm talking about.
Very intelligent guy here. He is dedicated to his mission.
We're a good distance away. And oh, look at that! How did it explode? It makes no sense. You know, if they wanted to make this gimmick cooler, it could have been like every mine you exploded gave an additional like 20 health to the boss.
Or even just like if it did damage to you, because environmental traps are not an uncommon thing in battle network games. Use my phone. Yes, good correction, Prof. That again, these are remote detonators, and the explosives are actually in the dam, which Chad, the other 10-year-old, is currently disarming. Oh, and here is where it all comes together.
The joy of Manip.
He's gonna go for the swag quick kill.
Always. So you can either wait for Quick Man to hit you, so you have a for sure window, or you can just count that he moves 6 times and then throw yourself at him. I like the swag. It's cost me world record twice.
Let's count to 6, everybody.
Now after all of that, I remember this plot point. Now after all that, we're bored and we don't know what to do. And it's a balloon that just kind of floats in or something like that?
A balloon from Netopia with Yumlandian data text that says, "Be my pen pal."
Yeah, we're gonna jack into the internet and do stuff for our pen pal. You know, that thing that you write letters out and physically mail to. We're gonna utilize the internet for
or apparently write a letter on a thumb drive, attach it to a balloon, and throw it into a jet stream.
All right. So, damn it! Every time I'm about to explain it, you're so unlikely to get an encounter here, and every time I'm about to explain it, I get an encounter. I'm never talking in that area again. Screw that. So pissed.
Yeah, it's like the last 2 encounter checks. There's a chance that you get an encounter.
I hate everything right now. My life is a spiraling abyss. Literally every time that I've done practice runs, I'll get right toward the end and think that, oh man, I didn't get the encounter yet. I can explain that you can get encounters here, and right when I open my mouth to say something, it's just like, surprise!
The game is waiting. It knows.
It's self-aware.
Yeah, but so we wanted to go to Yumland's internet, which is this foreign country. But in order to access Yumland's internet, we have to get an A license. We are not licensed enough to access other countries' internets. So we have to go take a test to prove that, you know, we'll be safe in Yumland's internet. But before we can take the test, we have to go help people to prove that we're capable enough to take the test. But it turns out, plot twist, the missions that we're doing to help people are actually a test to see if we can take the test.
That explanation never gets old.
I like this game, by the way.
Oh yeah, this is pretty much the only Battle Network game that I've really speed ran for a significant period of time. This is definitely my favorite of the bunch. But man, it's so dumb sometimes.
But yeah, it's really easy to poke fun at the plot of Mega Man games, including the Battle Network series. But the gameplay is just so good.
Like, it's seriously just like... it just doesn't make any sense. Like, it's the most convoluted thing ever. Want to go here? You gotta prove yourself by doing all this stuff, and then you can take our test. Oh, by the way, all of that was a test. Congratulations, you passed the pre-test to take the test.
Something else.
I mean, this is the series that introduces fires and ice on the internet.
This one, the internet freezes. Does it catch on fire?
No.
That's being 3.
Also, you know, the whole, like, Battle Network 1, your electric stove is...
They started the series off strong. Yeah. Oven's on fire. Probably a virus. Let me go get my water gun. Your first style was Elect Guts? Oh man. So Battle Network 2 introduced styles, which they changed more or less how you customize Mega Man each game, which was cool. 1 had armor, 2 and 3 had styles, 3 had the Navi customizer, 4 had souls, 5 had unison, 6 had crosses. So Battle Network 2 and 3 are very nostalgic for me, and I think a lot of people that played them kind of remember their first style. Mine was Heat Guts, because apparently I utilized the Buster way too much. So, what the... People in chat, what was your first style? Keizaron, what was your first style? It's a Leg Shield, right, Kappa?
No, it was actually Aqua Cust. I was a happy boy.
Dude, nuts. Wow. That's the dream right there.
It was during that blind race I did that I finished in like 15 hours.
Yeah. Shoutouts to who was in that? Was you, Keizaron, Montebank, Beacon was in that. Who else was in it?
Wind Sunrise was in it.
The 4 of you. Those guys. Was it Wynn's idea because he'd played the games once?
Yeah.
And so this group of Pokemon runners are like, you know what would be fun? Let's blind race Battle Network. And they started with Battle Network 4. That was the first one, right?
Yep, and for some reason I still wanted to do another one.
So this was like not too long, maybe a year after like TeamBN had first started doing speedruns. So all of us really enjoyed seeing people's first experience with Battle Network, especially in a blind race setting.
And Freeze Man is some crap if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh yeah, especially if you're like skipping the cutscenes and trying not to talk to everyone, because you'll have no idea what to do.
Now, what was funny about that race too was Wynn's forfeit. He was like, "I'm done with this. I'm mad," because like he had to deal with the guard star shenanigans, and he came back after like 2 hours and he still beat me because I did such a bad job of paying attention that I didn't realize that I could edit my folder, and I forgot that you could do it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I beat
I
beat Quickman with the default folder.
Wow. You know, so one of the first few speedruns I did, I gut shot Quickman's projectile. I think this was actually in one of our early marathons. I was doing Battle Network 2, and I gut shoot Quickman's projectile, and I didn't save beforehand because I'm like, it's just Quickman. So I had to finish that fight like area grab swords.
So this is in a non-manipulated setting. I would argue that this is actually the second hardest fight in the game. The difficulty spike here is really huge.
Yeah, it's like there's 2 fights where they throw a group of viruses at you that is just like a tier above everything that you've encountered so far. So if you aren't prepared or didn't save, you can get in some really bad situations in these fights because you've never seen these viruses before. You don't know what they do, and then all of a sudden, all of your panels are broken. You can't dodge, and you're just gonna die. Wow, that's cool, Draco. Well, I guess, honestly, with Battle Network 1, if you're upgrading your Buster, you probably don't even need chips at a certain point.
Yeah, because the Buster in Battle Network 1 is actually really...
In Battle Network 1, there's a certain... Once you get to the final boss, there's a plot thing that increases all of your stats.
Magic Man?
Yeah, once you beat Magic Man, the final boss, you have that final run up to the end, and it increases all of your stats to 6. But you can still challenge Chad and Proto Man to battle. So it's like you fight Proto Man with a fully unlocked machine gun buster, and it's just nuts. That was a fun thing to do.
We bought a power up there, and we already received one as well. That power up's super duper important. So every time you get an HP memory, your level goes up by 1, but a power up boosts it by 4. And as we mentioned before, akin to repelling in Pokemon, if you have a certain level and you use a sneak run, you don't get any encounters, and the encounters here suck. They're really not friendly encounters to deal with.
Yeah. So we've got like run rates and whatnot for all the areas and Mega Man level thresholds to hit. And we end the game at level 51, and we use like a bunch of power-ups and HP memories to get there, and your style chains also give you a few levels. Oh, and the coffee machine. Well, I'll let you make the joke.
This coffee is too coffee-like. It must be a virus. And wouldn't you know it, there's a virus in here, so we gotta clear it out. Now their coffee's gonna be less coffee-like, and they'll be pleased.
This is another fight that I fondly remember from Legendary Slot 2, because Gutsman V2 does 70 damage.
V2 is easy. Good execution.
Then you reg attack plus 10, and because Spookies are atrocious to fight without manipulation. They're worse in Battle Network 1 because they move too quickly to be hit by anything, but in Battle Network 2 they're still a pain because they move fast, they're hard to read, and they do a ton of damage. I remember I died after getting Change Bat for the style change, trying to escape from Yumland, because that first encounter had 2 Spooky 3s, and they hit me twice and I died.
I don't think I've suffered a worse death than being wood style and dealing with the fishy 2s and their burners. It's so crap. So it's a pretty common terminology to hear in speedruns, but especially in Mega Man speedruns, but there's something called iframes. They're just invulnerability frames, so they're just periods of time where you can't take any damage. Fishy 2s have a burner attack. It leaves a trail of fire when they dash at you, and it doesn't produce iframes. So if you're wood style and you get hit by it once, you're essentially dead.
But the best part, well, it's not the right adjective, is that there's a fight with 3 of those fire fishies, and they all attack you at the start, and the fire trail they leave behind overlaps. So if you're wood style and you step onto a panel that all 3 of them have passed over, you just instantly die because you get hit for 6 times damage.
Okay, no L code in slot 3, so I don't have to buster. Here's another joy of having dash attack. This gauntlet's easy, because even if you don't necessarily get it, you have a dash.
Dash on reg, and especially dash star on reg for the A license gauntlets, is really good.
Like you're essentially only manipulating this gauntlet fight for the second fight. Because this one you can produce multiple frames that work. You can get wide sword, or you can get Gutsman and attack plus 10. This, you just pick up your dash and mash A. The next one, you pick up your dash, go down, mash A. If you have plus 10, you win. If you don't, you just do a little extra stuff. There's the plus 10, we did it. I remember something that Terra used to do for the non-manipulated route is he would sometimes get dash B, and dash B was really helpful because B was a really powerful chip code for the early game, so he would reg that instead because it would stack with shotguns.
Yeah, pre-manip, it was all about the folder flow. Now, you go fight Gospel, and you're like, oh, I got a recut 10L in my folder? Yeah, that looks good.
Oh, bad.
This is the other fight that you will probably die to casually.
Nope. A little slow, but that's fine. That's an offset frame that doesn't produce a guard star, so you just have to buster. It's a little slower, but you still accomplish what you need to. As long as you get the 2 dash and the Gutsman, then you're good to go. Yeah, I think my first casual run through, well, not casual, but you know, my first blind run through of this, I'm glad I saved before that fight, because that fight wrecked me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, pro tip, after 3 attacks, the sortie will use area grab. They each have 1, I think. I don't know if the higher versions have 2 area grabs.
I think the higher versions have 2.
I know they do in 3, that's for sure.
So I do this fight in a very specific way. Not necessarily because it's faster, but because it's funnier.
Mm-hmm.
So you break all the panels with your Gutsman, then you destroy the panels further by dashing. And then the poor guy has nowhere to go except the 1 tile in front of you, and you just shoot at him.
Where are you going now, Matrid?
Exactly.
Where's your rock now, Matrid?
This manip sucks too. If you see Recov 10 or Shotgun J anywhere, then the frame's not going to work after this fight. You didn't get it, that's very good. First try is very, very good.
So, for folder stacking and Battle Network 2, since you're not looking for a specific frame, since you're going for a window, you don't actually need to maintain a precise position or step counter. You just need to have, like, in this region, I need to stop here. So you've got much more easier visual cues, like for when Keizaron stopped under that overpass, you're like, okay, when I can see half of Mega Man's leg, that's where I need to do my reset. So it's like, it's unfortunate that our control is imprecise, but the bonus is that the positioning is looser.
So I got an awkward frame, so that's unfortunate. That's fine. We'll
This
work
last fight's probably the worst.
Yeah, like a lot of the manip for this Gauntlet is specifically for this, because this fight sucks, but it's okay. We'll finish it. Just took a couple of extra turns. So some of the reason that this can go south like that is because the wind box is really, really, really stupid when it comes to RNG.
Oh, yeah, that's in this one.
Like, as long as it's active, it can advance RNG. So what you're supposed to draw in that area, or in that fight, you're supposed to draw 2 of your Gutsman chips. And you smash twice and you win forever. Folder edit. Yeah, a lot of the times you have to change your folders around because the cutscenes are going to be of varying number and varying length. It's quite some time before we have a manip that doesn't need a bunch of folder edits and is consistent across the board. How could one Navi destroy this whole place? Blah, blah, blah. I can assure you that the audio isn't broken. Just for some reason, they thought it'd be more tense if there was no audio here. Here's another thing to keep in mind with knowing you're in the right location. A lot of times the locations that we set up are just corners.
Yeah, corners are nice because they're consistent, but sometimes we'll like just stop here. Shout outs to N Marco. I think he figured out Cutman's pattern.
Draw it. No! Damn it.
I know what you didn't draw.
I specifically routed this fight, okay? To where
I remember that.
There are two possible outcomes you can get on turn 2 of this fight. You can get Gutsman and 2 attack plus 10s, or Mini Bomb and 2 attack plus 10s. I am a big fan of the Mini Bomb chip. That is the chip that is most associated with me, which is why the Japanese route is great. Some may even call me a Mini Bomb master. Friendly reminder that my blind race, that's how I beat Quickman, was a Mini Bomb.
That was pretty impressive. Shoutouts to Battle Network 1, which has a chip called Buster Bomb, which replaces your Buster Shot with a Mini Bomb.
Lucky Battle Network 1.
So we do, what, one optional job in the entire run?
That is correct.
Yeah, I think Keizaron accepted it a little earlier, and it's for 10,000 Zenny, so it's an important part of the Zenny route.
There's a GMD that produces 10,000, and it would actually like completely change how the route goes. You'd skip a fight. Your end game routing would be different because you wouldn't have one of the gate keys. I wonder if I talked to you on the second time. And the way that the gate keys work, you'll see once we get to Freeze Man if you don't remember how they work or if you've never seen it before. But essentially, the gate keys give you warps between different areas of the internet. And we get one of the warp keys for this route just because it's on the way to getting the extra Zenny. And the extra Zenny is really, really important because it helps us afford a few things. It's even more important in the English version, to be honest.
Yes.
And we gotta listen to this old man speak his autobiography out loud.
Tell me your life story.
Quite the investment of time, but at the end of this quest, we're going to get 10,000 Zenny. I think, didn't you time it to be like 50 seconds or something ludicrous? It was actually like a good chunk of time.
Actually, accepting the job, talking to the guy, talking to the woman, and then talking to the guy is a total of 50 seconds. Assuming you go through those areas anyway, which if you're doing key strats, you do. But if you do something other than key strats, then it's even more than 50 seconds. But I think key strats are probably worth it.
The task of this game does... Well, I mean, the task doesn't even need the money, so that's completely irrelevant. But And the GMD that produces the 10,000 is very late in the game. Well, it's not late, but like it's such a late point in time to want to have to deal with a potential run killer.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna advance the plot a little more and get the second most important chip in the Japanese route. This is actually the most important chip in the English route. Actually, I lied. We already got the most important chip. We got Recuv 30 star. Have you noticed I've been picking up bug frags this whole time? You may not have noticed because, you know, moon runes and everything, but we pick up a total of 8 bug frags, so we can shop at the bug frag store and get an attack plus 30 star chip. Very, very useful chip. It's less useful in the Japanese version.
Where do you? Is there a specific place you use it in the Japanese version?
Yeah, the Yumland gauntlets. Or not gauntlets,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'd be the place.
It's a very important place to use it. And then I don't know if there's really like much else for it, but it's something that could potentially be cut out of the Japanese route.
Yeah,
but it's a matter of convenience than anything else.
It's like the bug frags in total probably take like 10 seconds to get. So honestly, attack plus 30 is probably a 20 to 30 second time commitment at most. They're all super fast. You literally run into half of these bug frags.
Yeah.
It's like, why can't I move forward? Oh, there's a hidden green mystery data behind this upper path that no one could possibly see. Right, thanks Capcom. I love pixel hunts.
Yeah, the way that they handle bug frags in this game is much different than 3.
Yeah, bug frags, they're not in 1. There's a fixed amount in 2. Their counter hits in 3, and then in 4, 5, and 6, they're more just like randomly placed down.
Yeah, all excuse me, all the bug frags are kind of just nestled away in not necessarily hidden areas, but you know, under bridges. They're just visually out of the way. A fun fact, this is a purple mystery data, and we don't have an unlocker, but we can grab it. Neat. Attack plus 30 already paying dividends.
The sad music with the alarm playing.
Yeah. Yeah, we got Invis 3 star. Boulder flow.
Oh, that fight with the 2 spooky 3s that Keizaron one-shot, that killed me.
Did it?
Because you have so little health, those things, they do like 200 damage per hit or something ridiculous.
So I paused buffer there to analyze the movement of all the enemies. Because when they move, they're going to advance RNG. We need this Zapring 2B chip. We have 2 opportunities to get it. That fight's the easiest one to get it in.
You've got a 2/3 chance off of an S rank, and the later fight's a 1/3. In the non-minute category, there is a backup, but it costs like a full minute, and it's optional. So.
I guess I thought the fight would go a little differently. Watch me get shield style now because of that. That one guard star chip somehow put me over the edge. Now you can get
You're fine.
you can get Zapring 2B off this fight. And something I've noticed, and it has absolutely nothing to do with anything other than I just happen to chance on this frame over and over, but more often than not, after I manipulate the first Zapring 2B, I get a second one here. Annoying.
Keys of luck at its finest.
Dude.
Oh, you mean you don't need this RNG? Well, my bad.
I want to see if that messes with. When we talk to this guy, we get a fire chip. Fire chip good. Fire chip very good. We're gonna fight something that has boss music for some reason. I'm gonna use the legendary slot 2. Good.
This virus is pretty annoying, especially if you, you know, you've never seen one before, you don't know what it does, and it's like, oh, area crab, oh, undodgeable poison, oh, I'm dead.
Yep.
But if you just, like, don't stay in the middle, you're fine.
There, I did dash before sword. That's for you. I was gonna do another thing for you.
Alright, everybody get hype. Watch this clip.
Oh god. No! She was too strong!
Saved frame. So, that's something the task does, is that instead of walking around her, if you... The game gets confused if you're facing away from something and then run towards it for like that first frame. It doesn't do collision checks, so then you pass into the object and then you can run through them. Oh, and so these are puzzles. You talk to the progs and they tell you a riddle or a hint as to what the password is, and then you have to step on the letters in the correct sequence, which... The passwords are probably a lot harder in the Japanese version.
Oh, they sure are. I have to actually pay attention to the maps.
Well,
I
no,
have
I mean,
a lot of
like,
the positions memorized.
I mean, like, casually playing. Because
yeah.
the passwords in the English version is like cat, river,
Yeah, there's Gikmak Sui, which we'll get to that soon.
There you go.
That one's my favorite.
Oh, man.
So, something I'm gonna do real quick. Let's show off a little trick.
Oh, nice.
All right.
So this is frame perfect. You can go.
Oh, what the heck? Oh man.
Don't give up.
Okay, well,
Almost
anyway,
there.
I tried to do this blind. So you can actually skip the fight. That fight gives you your style. We actually desperately need the style. So I'm not gonna skip that, but
So
it's a neat little trick.
actually, it's neat that that's there because we can sneak run in this area. We should not get encounters. Keizaron used a sneak run at the start. However, there's a trigger there where the way style change works in Battle Network 2 is that the first time you enter Mother Comp 1, which is where we are, it sets a flag so that the next fight that gives you a reward will also trigger your style change.
Yes!
Oh man.
Too bad it doesn't matter in the Japanese version, but we did it! The best style in the game.
Nice. I'll talk about the element in a second, but the game developers really wanted to make sure that you had your style before advancing to the next area, so they added in an extra check to where when you cross over that trigger, if you have not yet gotten a style change, it will force you into an encounter. However, if you pause at the same time that you step on the trigger and enter a menu, the game gets confused and you get the white screen. If you enter the menu a second time, the white screen goes away. So you can skip that fight, but because the fight gives you your style and we're not going to get any other random encounters for the rest of this area, we utilize custom styles, extra 2 chips, in the manipulation against the next boss Shadow Map. Now, the way styles are determined, I know this is true in 3, I've been looking at that a lot more. I believe it's also true in 2. But for every fight that gives you a reward, it tallies up how you did in that fight. How many buster shots did you use? How many chips did you use? How many defensive chips did you send? How many Navi chips did you use? And it determines which style type, custom, team, shield, guts, should this give 1 point to. If it's a tie, it gives it to multiple. And then whenever you get a style change, it will see...
H-knife.
H-knife. Wig Gym Mask H-knife. It will see which has the most points, and that will be the style you get. So your play determines the second part, but the element is random, and that is locked in when you select new game. And the elements used to matter more, but with manipulations it doesn't really. It's still kind of nice in the English version, but in the Japanese version, because of something we'll get in the next scenario, it doesn't make as much of a difference. The main change is that the element determines what your charge shot is, and some charge shots are better than others. Shout out to Alec being the worst.
It's so bad.
Well, I guess debatably that or wood, because the wood twister, the tornado, is good, except that you can't hit the back row with it, and most of the bosses in Battle Network 2 chill on the back row. So that is my spiel for custom or for style changes. And here's Shadow Man. Oh, pay attention to the right side of the screen, see if you can see the GameCube logo.
Huh. This draw doesn't look very good. You have one of them. I don't recognize this one. I think I was too slow, actually. Now, if you were to delay the style fight, you would get it after this fight. I believe the task does that.
Yep. The task does the white screen puzzle, and then style change on Shadow, which I don't remember what element. I think it gets like a lek or something. You're like, why would it get that? And then it just never uses its buster. And you're like, oh, well, that makes sense why it doesn't care. It probably just first framed it.
Where are you?
Yeah.
Don't do this to me.
So Shadow Man's got 800 HP, and Guts Shoot does 400, which is one reason we picked up 2 copies of Gutsman and 2 copies of Dash, is for this guy here. Shadow Man, you're a jerk.
Where the heck is this chip?
Bottom decking?
It would have been faster to just do the manip a second time.
Yeah, but it's hard to tell. Like, if you get the manip wrong, you're like, do I fight this out, or... Because you have no idea where Gutsman is.
Ah.
If you get Shadow Man below 300 HP, he summons his blue shadow clones that hang out on your side of the field, and then just
I knocked him below so I could show it off, but he's not doing it. I gave him the opportunity. Sorted him and everything.
Your chance, Shadow Man. I think the swords do like 10 damage, but they body block you, and I think they've got collision on attack, so they're super annoying.
Man, that fight sucked. This is the last bad manip in the game, though, so from here everything should be hunky-dory.
Because the next scenario is going to completely change our strategy. We do not care about Guts Shoot anymore. More or less.
Hi, Mom. I want to travel to a foreign country by myself. I'll be back next week.
Have fun, dear.
We're gonna get a passport, because, you know, that's a very important thing to have if you're traveling. In the English version, this would be the point where we fight Mr. Famous over here. Mr. Famous.
Oh, yeah. Did you know that he's a legendary net battler who's won 69 battles in a row?
Did he really?
Yeah, he's famous.
Maybe that's why he's called Mr. Famous.
Clever.
I never thought about that before. Yeah, we get the passport, now all of a sudden the ticket machine disperses a train ticket that will take us to the airport, because all we needed was a passport full time.
Convenient. Yeah, my favorite part though is that So here's the process for getting a passport. You go to the counter and you tell them, I want a passport. And they say, go to the next counter. And you're like, okay, that's normal. That's real life. You never go to the correct counter first. Then you go to the second counter and you say, I want a passport. And they're like, okay, here's your passport. And that just completely ruins your immersion because you know that that's not how it works.
Yeah, so this is this is where the actual difference between the English route and the Japanese route come in. There are minor things up to this point in time. Like I picked up a couple of extra BMDs that were full of Zenny. I need to front load my Zenny. But
just in time to get mugged.
Yeah, just in time to get mugged.
Oh,
but very soon we're gonna pick up a couple of chips that'll completely change the complexion of the run, and it's a 3-minute difference between recorded runs right now, but I've estimated it's about a 5-minute time save.
Yeah, but before you go flying, you talk to Mail, and she says she read your horoscope, and this wireless device is good luck. So she gave you a wireless device. So,
and wouldn't you know it?
I did. Sounds like a really good commercial, though. It's like, oh, man, yeah, I should really buy this. But shout-outs to Johnny Bravo here, the nicest mugger ever. He steals all of your money, but lets you fight him for it back. And if you lose this fight, you don't get a game over. And you can just challenge him again.
I actually didn't know that bit. What a nice guy.
That's kind of funny, Les. I'd never thought about that, but yeah. Misconceptions you have the first time you play a game. Like when I played Battle Network 4, I didn't use the double soul system because I'm like, sacrifice a chip? Why would I sacrifice a chip? I don't want to just like burn my chips. I'll have to like put new ones in my folder after every fight. I thought it would like energy change it, kind of like Battle Network 3.
Now, Mega Man and Lan got in a fight here because we got our chips stolen and our money stolen. This is a really crappy trip so far.
Yeah,
that's why 11-year-olds don't like travel by themselves.
First international experience. Money stolen, kidnapped, chips stolen, and then when you come back, after calling Mega Man a mega dummy and leaving him in the hotel, your hotel room got broken into, your PET was attacked, and they stole your passport, which is saved electronically on your PET.
We're trapped here forever.
Now being sold on the black market. But the worst part is that you can't even advance the plot at this point if you don't have Guard Star. The rare Electopian Guard Star. Oh, but shoutouts to Higsby. It's nice hair.
Higsby's got a really good look on him, and he gives us a few free chips, and we're going to utilize one of them.
One of them, which if you play casually, you might have just thought, oh, that's a nice chip, but I don't really, is a TreeBomb Star. Important letter.
Ooh.
Oh, we're Aqua Style, we're fighting a light
God.
man. If you weren't manipping, this would be kind of an unfortunate fight. Oh, so, the year's 2014 and no one's done speedruns yet, or it was even earlier than that, like 2013, and there's a really old thread on Speed Demos Archives talking about the Battle Network series and speedrunning them, and one of my favorite comments was with Battle Network 2, someone said, and in the Battle Network 2 run, I wouldn't reset unless I died to Thunderman at least 3 times.
Give me an opening. Thank you. Please. This fight's a lot easier in the English version because you will have fought Mr. Famous and you'll have a bunch of attack pluses and you'd have a Gateman chip. This fight you need to essentially do what's the setup for Shadow Man, and that's a finicky setup. However,
yeah. I don't think you have Gateman in yet. Well, actually, you might. Would you?
Yeah, you put Gateman in. Because remember, you get your chip stolen, and if you don't put it in, then you can't utilize. Yeah.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah, so we're going to, we bought an extra unlocker, and that's going to help us here. So as stated, Higsby gives us a TreeBomb chip, which on its own is pretty decent, but not the most valuable chip. But when you combine it with another chip that happens to be in here, known as Prism Q, the game doesn't know what to do with itself.
Yeah, it's better to show, so you'll see. Let me use it how it does its thing. But shout outs to Prism. He's a really good Battle Network one runner, and also a good battle. Emerald, I would say that a lot of people probably had trouble with Thunderman casually because those clouds just get in your way and block everything.
Oh yeah, I was on him for about 30 minutes in that blind run. Couldn't figure anything out. It hurt. It hurt being Aqua.
The electric orbs will stun you, and then the lightning pulses from the clouds don't trigger iframe, so you can rack up a lot of damage quickly.
I died a lot. Oh, I took extra steps. That's not up.
It's okay. You're just making sure that the sneak run runs out before you get to the vendor.
Yeah, you're right. So we've already deviated a little bit from the English route by going out of our way to get Prism, which meant that we had to get an unlocker that we wouldn't normally get yet. We also do this. This is where the money comes in handy. We buy a power-up now because we're short on level because we didn't fight Mr. Famous.
Oh yeah, because first time you beat him, it gives you an HP memory. The second time, it gives you a chip and Folder 2, of all things.
Folder 2 has a lot of star chips in it. It's a nice thing if you're working on folder flow and you didn't get any good drops.
I like star chips.
Star chips are good.
If you get a folder of 20 star chips, you can go to the castle in Duelist Kingdom. Oh, but we talked to a guy in Utopia Square who said that I think I saw someone selling a passport, blah, 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 and now we're going to go beat him up.
Now then, if you've never seen this before, it's a treat.
Prepare yourselves for the audiovisual experience of Deku Nut Prism.
It took us a while to just come up with a normal category name for this. It ended up just becoming any % Japanese, but we had a few things. Deku Nut was my favorite.
Oh, Hitaka made the same joke I did. Ding, ding, ding. But basically, they hadn't anticipated or tested what happens when you put a tree bomb, which sits on the field, inside of a prism, which also sits on the field. The tree bomb has collision damage, and the prism, anytime damage gets done to it, it deals it to everything around it without triggering iframes, since it's not a direct hit. So every frame, they're colliding and doing collision damage to everything around it.
So as I mentioned, my estimation of a time difference between the English run and a Japanese run would be about 5 minutes, like maybe a little less than 5 minutes, but pretty close. The biggest reasons behind that is the lack of folder edits, because we're only focusing on getting one chip as opposed to multiple. So the manips are a lot easier to figure out. You don't have to edit your folder nearly as much because you know what slot you're aiming for all the time, and there's always a window for it. And additionally, you don't have to deal with the cutscene of combining the chips and then the cutscene of activating the PA. And it racks up a lot of time doing that. Also, this is the only comp from here on out that we're not going to sneak run, so we can only afford to carry 4 sneak runs right now. That is what our capacity is right now. Conveniently, in the middle of these comps, you pick up a sub-memory, which allows you to get a 5th one. But it's a little late for that, so we don't sneak run here, because run rate's guaranteed, and it's the one area that will produce the least amount of encounters. But you usually average 3 encounters here. You can get 2 if you're really lucky. You can get 4 if you're me. Now we're gonna use our sneak runs. No more encounters for us. Go team.
Reminder, Battle Network 2 is an edgy game. Your secret net battler meeting was ambushed. Everyone was positioned over a trapdoor. Poor place for meeting in the first place, you know, but letting that slide. All of the dungeon traps were still there, waiting to be reactivated. Also another not good point. And Lan first gets almost shot by the arrow trap, and now him and Princess Pride are about to get crushed by the ceiling. Meanwhile, Jennifer probably got stabbed by something. Raul was having a really unfortunate run-in with a flamethrower, and I don't even know what happens to Johnny Bravo.
I think he's dead.
He gives you a call in the middle of, I think, comp number 3, but we just skipped that cutscene. Yeah.
Therefore, he's dead. He doesn't exist. All right, who's ready for the second best clip in the game? No, I got stuck at the last second. Damn it.
Jennifer
Jennifer let me down.
Oh, and something burning ring of fire, something wireless.
Man, good thing Mail read my horoscope.
Shoutouts to Lan Hikari's like perfect throw to attach this wireless device into the jack-in port across the room.
I believe what I did there was frame perfect. Skipping the cutscene for the call from Johnny Bravo, but still getting the full ring. It serves no purpose. It's just there to look cool. Now this is the best manip in the game. Behold, Raul's crotch. As we draw exactly what we need.
It's Crispy Raul. So you won't see it in the cutscene afterwards, but so Chad shows up and he's like, the only 2 people left are myself and Lan Hikari. Lan Hikari must be the traitor. I will destroy him and Mega Man. And then you throw a Deku Nut at Proto Man and he dies. Chad sulks a little bit, and then Crispy Roll vibrates and communicates with us a message that it's a trap and it's actually Princess Pride, who's a good guy in Battle Network 5. Explain that one.
Makes sense anymore. Yeah, I'm getting these turn frame grabs. I'm going for them in places I shouldn't be going for them on, but whatever.
Interacting with things is interesting, and I think all Battle Network, but especially 1, 2, and 3, and it's that you still have movement after you've initiated the interaction check. So you can turn around after picking up a blue mystery data or talking to an NPC, and the NPC ones are the best because they face the opposite direction of Lan. So that way, if you're facing them, they'll face towards you. But if you're facing away, they also face away, so you can have secret conversations.
Oh, darn it, corner's too strong. They help us and hurt us.
That's a good point, Chris. Clearly, all of the virus busting and gaming has given Lan excellent hand-eye coordination as demonstrated in both Battle Networks 2 and 3. Reminder to use power-ups.
Yep. It's bold. I remember this time. Can't believe I thought I got the frame perfect encounter and me being a dude.
I mean, I would have believed the encounter.
I know I would have. Yeah, I remembered how to do that. I've forgotten how to do that, like, on my D-rusting. I don't know how. Nightman, so easy. So it missed because the hitbox isn't as big as you think it is. And it doesn't extend to the entirety of the tile. So if you hug the corner just right, you can bypass the hitbox.
Are we talking about the vampire clip?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's bad. D-pad got stuck. Ugh. You're gonna see that movement, you're gonna be confused. That was manipulation so I can go through the security.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you guys have no idea how complicated RNG manip setups are. Everything Keizaron doing is frame and pixel perfect.
Yep. Also, we're just gonna reach into the staff area of the plane and take the HP memory because we're a kid that doesn't know any better and thinks the world belongs to us. Also, can we talk about these planes? I wish planes were this.
Yes, I would like to go on a flight with my entire living room. Thank you.
Like, GDQ flights wouldn't suck so much. Yeah, the vampire clip isn't hard. Sure.
It's also nice that there's no pressure because you just lose 100 HP.
Yeah.
It's more unpleasant to lose the frames than it is to lose the health.
Mm-hmm.
But if you try and do a zombie clip, now that's spooky. Because those guys will send you all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah, in practice I forgot how to skip the zombies because I forgot their movement pattern. That one at the end has sent me back a few times. I don't think we actually spent any money on this plane ticket. I think we just kind of exist. That's the best kind of public travel. Man, I do want to ride living room class though. I mean, that's so ridiculous. Alright, so it's been established that we are 10 years old. I'm gonna get some alcohol.
Yeah, it's unfortunate you guys can't read these epic rap lyrics, but just know that Keizaron is killing it, yo.
I'm so good. I'm beginning to feel like a rap god. .exe. Yeah, for whatever reason, this supposedly responsible adult that can afford living room class is like, oh, 10-year-old boy, here you go, have my bottle of whiskey. Be responsible.
Oh, if someone can afford a ticket like that, they probably don't care about being responsible.
That's true. Or they can just buy their way out of like the fine for feeding alcohol to a minor.
My favorite part about the whole irony of the plane scenario is that the scientists brought a spider on board. It got loose and bit exactly one person who happened to be the official net battler that was brought on board to protect the plane against viruses that would attempt to bring it down, which presents an opportunity for the World 3 to attempt to steal the high power program on board. I don't know if they just did not plan on dealing with the official net battler or if they actually released the spider and somehow coordinated it to attack exactly the person that they needed to. So
it's another one of those convoluted things.
In steps 10-year-old Lan Hikari to save the day yet again.
What we do. The heck was that movie? So I always talk about how this is probably one of my favorite themes in the game. Whereas my good pal Tara over here says that it's polarizing and he doesn't like it.
I don't know if I've ever actually stated my stance on this one, which side of the poll that I am on.
I know you don't like it.
Well, sometimes I do and sometimes I don't, you know? Stealing my jokes, I swear.
That red
Good
one's
enough
a
to
little
pull
off
there.
center. I didn't notice that until now.
Oh, yeah, I don't know who designed this comp, but
They suck.
it's like they intentionally just shifted things a little bit, be like, "Does anyone will notice this?" It's like, but I hope
That
they
one's
do.
off center too. I never noticed this. Oh, this makes me mad. Anyway, chat, what is your favorite comp music? Because mine's the apartment comps. Just so hype and exciting.
Do you find yourself appalled, repelled even, by the misplacement of these devices?
I sure do! If the apartment comps theme didn't exist, then I would definitely go with the bomb comps. Those are really good.
Ah, yeah. Is it really off center? Most of them aren't, yeah. There's one blue one that they didn't even try. It's like at 75% of the way to one side.
Like, apartment comp has that benefit to me where it's like you know that you're right at the end, so it builds the excitement. Of course, there's a bunch of other hype songs that are deeper in the game that an any percent run doesn't tackle. I may or may not be working on a category that reaches those. This blue one's disgusting.
But this is the worst one.
It's so bad. Like, I'm convinced that the same person that put that one BMD off center is the one that made these.
he made the plane comps and that one subnet.
What a jerk. I mentioned money a couple of times. So because we don't have to buy win stars and fan stars, and we were able to spend our money on a power-up instead, which is a much more efficient use of your money, we don't pick up any Zenny here in the air comps. Whereas I remember when I was working on the reroute for the English route, I bugged Tara forever trying to figure out, like, maybe this Zenny is the best one, maybe this one's the best one. And meanwhile, the whole time, he's like, I have this resource that tells you how fast it is to pick up each GMD.
There's a column called Zenny per second.
Anyway, we don't have a corner here, so we make our own.
Yo, shoutouts to Prog Champ. Can I get some Prog Champs in the chat?
Let's get some prog champs going.
Yeah. Those who are subscribed to the channel can use Prog Champ in every chat.
Oh.
Spread the joy that is Mr. Prog.
So this particular segment of the game is the shortest segment in the game. It clocks in at under 10 minutes.
Oh yeah. But don't worry.
If you felt like you didn't have enough of your Battle Network 2 fill, have we got the split for you?
Oh man. Boy, did they compensate.
Oh, they sure did. This was a compensation and a half. But we are now in the Freeze Man scenario, and the Freeze Man scenario is the biggest fetch quest in the entire game. Do you
Reminder
like
to activate the warp.
Do you like seeing Natopia? I sure hope you like seeing Natopia. You're gonna see a lot of it.
Specifically, like Netopia 2 and Undernet 3. Those are the places.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh, this is a really important part. If I didn't do this, it would completely nullify going out of my way to get one of the gate keys. So, as you know, if you go to your bed, you end the day's events. If I go to bed now and wake up the next day, there's going to be ice all over the internet, because I think God knows why. But I wouldn't be able to access this. So we have to put this key in right now, because this warp is very, very important and saves us a ton of time.
Skating on grass. Landscapes everywhere. On his
Landscape's
carpet.
upstairs. Yeah.
Downstairs. It's really impressive, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah. Oh.
Like he's got all season rollerblades.
Yeah.
He'll skate when it's snowing.
It's like there's the expression net on fire. You know, I'm gonna go set the internet on fire. How would you freeze the internet? Like, did they just crank up the AC in the server room, or
Net neutrality.
Oh.
Gonna buy a few things. Oh yeah, if you also like spending money on sneak runs, is this the segment for you?
We spend an insane amount of money on sneak runs, and they only cost 200 in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Hidaka. It's just the same joke. That's so great. I like where your mind is, Hidaka.
We read this email because this email allows us to board the plane for free and without going through security and stuff. It's pretty nice. It saves a little bit of time, actually. Like, it saves enough time that it's worth reading the email.
Yeah. All-terrain rollerblades. Yes, I like that. Can we brand that and say that they're Land Hikari approved? And then the commercial for the blades is just footage from Battle Network games?
Have you ever wanted to skate upstairs?
On grass? Dirt? Through the snow?
Even on thin air! I think I did that time. Tell me the silver fist. No! Tell me the silver fist.
Oh,
Yes.
So Silver Fist is really cool here. Dominards are super annoying, and they only take 1 damage until they attack, at which point they become vulnerable. But Silver Fist is breaking and has a command code. So command codes are something that maybe not a lot of people found out casually first time playing. I know, I certainly didn't know. Like Variable Sword, that's a garbage chip. But if you hold A and do certain input codes for Silver Fist, it's like, what, is it down and clockwise or counterclockwise?
It's right counterclockwise.
Right counterclockwise. You do the spin to win, and then you throw a Silver Fist down each row doing breaking damage, knocking out the Dominards, which is super cool.
Yeah, even with the power of the Deku Nut, you don't kill them. It's really, 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 really stupid.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. You should, like, make a clip of that or something. That'd be a good highlight.
Yeah.
Because,
Hell, I can do it right now.
Going back. It takes 1.5 seconds for the tree bomb to sprout, which, I was going to mention this earlier. Your Aqua Style, so if you hit it with your charge shot, you could actually sprout it early, and it makes it go faster and I think do more damage.
Behold, we only do 90 max damage.
Yeah, because since it takes 1.5 seconds for it to activate, that's 90 frames, and it's 1 damage per frame, so it's 90 damage to the Dominard. So not even the power of Deku Nut can destroy Dominards.
Dominards confirm the stupidest enemy in the game.
Thank you, Keizaron, that was worth it.
It was worth it. Only about a minute of a detour. I'm gonna finish like close to 15 minutes. Underestimate. I'm predicting like a 217, 218.
We here at TeamBN do not let schedules conform us. We speedrun on our own terms.
It's pretty impressive that those things don't die when everything else in the universe does. Literally everything else will die to that. Well, at least in the run.
I guess anything other than hardheads. I can't think of anything else that would survive it. Like, it even doesn't have damage to break auras. Maybe not. I guess there's a 200 damage aura. Yeah. Deku Nut Prism Strat. Mega Man
So
Battle Network
good.
2. Good names, chat. Oh, but to just, you know, poke fun at the plot a little bit more, the internet is frozen, which means that every nation's environmental control system is malfunctioning. And so earthquakes are happening, UV radiation is an all-time high, and just generally bad things are happening. So apparently the internet controls nature, and nature's not happy about that. Also, those ratties deserved everything that happened.
I hate ratties. They are the worst thing on the planet. They deserve every bad thing to happen to them and only them.
Oh, and the best part is in Battle Network 2, ratties have 2 anger states. Angry and terror.
I was going for the swag instead of the consistency. I goofed.
I enjoyed seeing Mega Man act out the inputs, though. Let me visualize for you how to Silver Fist.
Yeah. This is my interpretive dance on how to do it. See, here at TeamBN, we're all human and we make mistakes. Some are a little more significant than others.
Sure, yeah. So Dr. Hikari said that because the weather has been suppressed for so long through the environmental control system, now that it is unconstrained, it's releasing a lot of energy. But they can try and justify it all they want. It's still Capcom plot.
So if you notice at the beginning of the game, we jacked into a grill twice. Now we're going to jack into a different kind of grill. We did it.
Yeah, this scenario's got so much back and forth, but at the very least, we can pick up heat data ahead of time, because we know we'll need that later.
I wish there were more to talk about with this split. It's so backtracky, it's so bad. Here's the advantage of reading the email here. So we can just cut through security here, go through the exit instead of the entrance, and then not get stopped at all. So reading the email alone makes that almost faster. And then you have to go through a second time, so it ends up being faster.
Shoutouts to Mr. Match. Can anyone tell me what game Mr. Match does not appear in?
4.
0.5.
Damn it. No, I'm really glad that I know how to read Japanese because it makes this quiz part really.
Yeah.
Oh, it ain't my input. I have to redo it again. No. On the 8th question, too. Were you kidding me?
Oh, Ruby and Eurasia must have sent it at the same time because they each think that the other person sent it first. Maybe?
Neat. Timing. 4.5. Garbage. I was half right.
Blue Moon? Hey, you know, I can't. Actually, no, Burner Man's in both, so I guess Match is in both versions of that as well. I guess he is only in one version of 6, you could say that. Network transmission, but he is in network transmission. He's the first guy. What are you talking about? I mean, we only
Silly.
see his profile. Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, no. I mean, in the main games, I don't actually know who is and isn't in 4.5. Most of the Navi show up, but I don't know if a lot of the net operators do.
We're not even halfway through this part.
I mean, Matt shows up at the end and says, "I swear it's not my fault this time." It's like, sure, Matt. Sure.
Now we get to see why this gate key was super important. So I can just go to the regular old square and go here. In fact, I'll even run over here. As you can see, there's ice. So that would have been annoying because it's blue ice no less, so we have to progress a lot.
Blue ice.
Blue ice
is actually
very,
never broken.
very.
Yellow ice. What is that made to do? No.
I hope you like seeing this area because you're gonna see it like what 4 times.
A whole lot.
Also, I'm really glad that we're not wood because this next fight's really disgusting with wood. Take 100 damage, it sucks.
Yeah, 2 and 3 seem to have a whole lot of fire viruses, and they're the ones that give you random elements. So it's just like, if you get the wood style,
I know.
First you blame... Oh, did he eat the prism?
No, I hit the
you-
direction on accident. All
Yeah,
over.
that's awkward. Ice too strong.
Ice too strong. Anyway, this is one of the fights that we had mentioned before that style doesn't matter for this, but it's slightly valuable in the English route. So since you're using Gator, you have to deal with the PA cutscenes. If you had Aqua for this fight, then you could just buster them and it's faster because you don't have to save and quit. You don't have to load up 2 different cutscenes.
Yeah. Oh, shoutouts to the internet. Super clean looking and has a nice theme. I'm very nostalgic for this game though, so.
I really like the internet in this. I do think some of the design is repetitive, but I mean it's still cool.
Undernet Area 2, sponsored by Microsoft.
I hope you guys like seeing Undernet Area 1 and 2. You're gonna see that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, we've already seen Undernet Area 2. If you were at the start of the marathon when we did Mega Man Battle Network 4, I think. Actually, maybe only one run saw it, the New Game Plus run. But for some reason, they took this exact area and put it in Battle Network 4. And it is where Searchman is. Same Hitaka. I think this one and 4 were probably like the coolest undernets with the best themes. Oh, information bribery. Keizaron had the
10,000 zenny.
10,000 zenny. Just to be told that I think I know a guy who did a thing in a place, and we're gonna go investigate. Shoutouts to Undernet and Battle Network 1. It looked the exact same as the internet, except had a W at the entrance.
This guy that's hopping up and down, he's doing it suspiciously, so he's clearly the guy we need to talk to. Good job, Capcom.
Really excited. Should we add an animation to... Nah, just make it bounce.
Yeah.
The W stands for wonder.
So this is where we needed the Zap Ring to be. This guy won't give us the information we need until We give him that chip. And like, we go through all that effort just for him to be like, the troublemakers are WWW all along. It's like, no, really?
Plot twist.
Like, how?
The bad guys were the bad guys.
What are the chances? I had to spend an hour and a half routing out those fights to make sure I get that damn chip just for you to tell us what we already knew. Who'd have thunk? You see that guy that's covered in blood and has a knife in his hand? That's totally the murderer!
That is slightly more accurate, Eurasia, but also less funny.
Erase, you're ruining my joke. You're ruining my jokes. This is a no fun zone. I should just walk instead of run from now on. 'Cause we're not about having fun now. Everyone blame Eurasia. At Eurasia. You know what else doesn't have a sense of humor? Battle Network 2. Thank God.
Oh, unfortunately.
Please.
Hold on, I've got the script for 3. I'll get it.
No. I mean, you might as well read some. Like, we're just running back and forth for the next 10 minutes. 12. Well, 12 because I had to show off the Dominard thing.
A speed walk. Now, that's my kind of thing.
GameCube would definitely be the cheaper way to go. Oh my god, I almost messed up. Anyway, if nobody's noticed yet, we have the perfect amount of health. It will go up no more.
Isn't it convenient?
We need to reach level 51, and from here we'll just use power-ups. We no longer need health.
Yeah, the Manip route gets by with spending less money, so it has more Zenny that it can use to buy an additional power-up. Alternatively, in the non-Manip route, we have to go pixel hunting for a prog in the Mother Comp area.
Or you could just skip 2 of the full custs. Just hope for the best.
That sounds unfun, but maybe it's fast. I don't know. Shout out to the doc for never showing up or being mentioned again. Shout outs to the Keymaker and his brother, who spend the entire scenario tracking down.
Oh man, have I got a complaint for his brother? Oh, you'll see the complaint soon. Don't you worry. My goodness, how did I miss? The heck? What? No! No! Okay, I gotta get lucky now. Shit.
So this is one of the...
Shit.
Oh.
Shit. Shit. That was so bad.
At least you're not wood style.
That was so bad. It ate my up input. I couldn't save. That's all good, it's all good. There we go.
So, we hope you enjoyed this example of non-manipulated 80%.
Ah! That was so bad. Yes to you. I'm not confident in myself anymore. That's horrible.
So, in the non-manip category, you power up charge first because attack doesn't affect your charge damage in an elemental style. But in the manip category, we upgrade attack first because you never use the charge, but occasionally doing like a buster shot for 5 damage actually is better than your charge shot, and it's more consistent than since you get a random element. So your charge is what, rank 1 still?
I think it's 3 now.
But it is not as good as it could be.
That's correct. You only get to 4. Like charge shots. Even with Aqua, with rank 3, the charge shot wouldn't have been fast enough to counteract what I did instead. Dash chip, very, very good. Hutsman chip, very slow though. Anyway, I hope you guys really like seeing this area, because we're still gonna stop by a few more times.
You thought that was the last trip? We ain't done yet.
Never ends. The gift that keeps on giving. This one's stupid. I don't know if that B tank can ever... It sure can! This is the worst fight in the game. I take everything else back.
Yeah, so at the start, it does an RNG call for each B tank, and they each get a random direction up or down, and then each one, after every move, does an RNG call to see if it should attack or not. So there's no hope for this fight with this strategy, which is unfortunate.
That sucks. Anyway, so when I first picked up this speedrun, I was using Doisim's notes, and he said, talk to the orange Navi. Talk to the orange Navi. I saw this Navi. I was like, he's not really orange, so this must not be the guy that I have to talk to. So I kept wandering around Utopia Area 3, couldn't find somebody orange, ran into an encounter eventually because I had no sneak runs left, died. Orange Navi.
That's orange. Eurasia must have the same eyes that Doisim does.
You mean bad? I'll never let him live down, or until the day that I die.
Enjoy Battle.net? Considering speedrunning yourself? We have notes to help you speedrun all the games.
Like
Sorta.
talking to this orange Navi.
Which, it's like, honestly, the games are still sort of all being worked on, and resources for each are in varying degrees of completeness. But if you join the TeamBN Discord and ask questions and like the Battle Network strats, there's a lot of people on there, and someone can help you kind of get started with stuff. We definitely could use more runners, and speedrunning these games is a different experience and a fun way to replay them. So I do try to encourage people that if you like them, consider giving it a shot. They are very long runs. They are RPGs. So if you don't have like the time commitment for a 3-hour run, just do it segmented, just play through one scenario at a time. You don't have to stream it or anything. It's fun to do. And it'd be nice to have more people kind of involved in playing these games in this way and finding out kind of what the possibilities are.
Anytime we have a decent wave of new people, there's always some route changes that end up being discovered. Whether it's because of increased effort or because of different perspective. Like the crux of the crux of the manipulated route for both categories of Battle Network 2, Doisim made some manipulations for bosses, and then I took some of that concept and was like, hey, I could really use Gutsman V2 in a lot of fights, and every time I put him in this slot, I seem to get him. A consistent Gutsman V2 minute appeared, and then Montebank was like, we could apply this to the whole game. And that's kind of where this route came from.
Shoutouts to Montebank. He is a routing genius. What he was able to do with Battle Network 2 in the time that he did it was really phenomenal. Because until he took a stab at it, like even while doing some boss manips, because RNG works differently in this game than in 1, I was saying that RNG 2-minute for Battle Network 2 is not worth it. But it definitely is.
Anyway, that cutscene was like, did you see that? That person's below us. How do we do that? And instead of like a logical thing of let's jump down. Gotta do more fetch quest. We have to talk to this orange Navi at the bottom of the ramp. Good old orange Navi. Now we got another gate key. This takes us to Kodo. But also gives us an entrance to the back door. Now we're in the under Kodo, which is very, very visually gross looking. Hate it. Puke lime.
Get your logic out of here, Hitaka.
Now we use our last unlocker, we get this additional sub-memory. So now we can have 6 sneak runs, and that's really, really super duper important because the final areas of the game suck if you get encounters.
So, we buy an unlocker and go get that purple mystery data to use it exactly 1 time, and it's still faster.
Hello, globs of goop. Goodbye, globs of goop.
Those null and void viruses are actually super scary because there's 3 of them, and they summon these whirlpools that do a lot of damage, and they jump onto your area randomly to literally push you around. They're very rude, and they also have insane health regeneration.
Like the best description I've ever heard of them. They're rude. That's not an inaccurate description. They are very rude. No, wait, not this fight. But the next one. The next one is super duper scary for wood style. Super duper 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 scary. Also, conveniently, you can mash A at this fight because the flappies jump just in time for your Prism to safely land.
Yeah, this fight without manipulation is terrible because those things do a lot of damage. They crack your panels, they move quickly, they attack quickly. Flappy 3s are really high up there on annoying enemies.
Also, shoutouts to Prism blocking that one fishy from being able to pass.
Where are you going? Nowhere. Eurasia brings up a good point. The Kotobuki square, kind of like AC/DC square, and that square has a particular shape to it, which is a skull. Kind of.
Oh, what the heck? Jerk. Where are you?
Oh, he moved into that spot.
What a jerk.
Interesting.
That hasn't happened before, has it? I don't think I've seen that happen before. You jerk.
No.
You jerk.
I wonder. Did you throw tree bomb as quickly as you could? I wonder if that fight's just RNG then.
I don't know, maybe. Who knows? This fight isn't though.
He's about to have a really bad day.
Adoop. The best part is how we're doing this from like the mainframe at where our dad works. And when we're done, we just go home. Hey Mom, I was at work with Dad all day and I saved the internet from being frozen. Now, because of all the gate keys, God bless the gate keys, doing this from home is faster. Because we literally just jack in, go to the left. Nay, we're at Kodo again. We did it. Kodo is going to be the home of our last shopping trip, and we also have to go there for, plot purposes or whatever. Plot.
It's kind of convenient because you get Zenny from Freeze Man, and then you have to go back through this area, so we pass right by the shop, so we can use that Zenny to buy sneak runs and an HP armor and a power up or whatever else you need.
Is a power up. Last power up we need is a nice power up. Is a good boy.
This is the last level we need. Wait, does that a plot? What's plot? You guy. It's that thing that we've been describing the entire run.
You mean manipulations?
Yeah, well, may as well be.
Now, Tara was bringing it up earlier, so in the non-manip route, if you don't go the path of skipping two of the Hust Gauge chips that you could buy, after you get this ticket from your dad to go to real life Kodo, and you see the cutscene of like, oh, everything's all topsy-turvy and nothing makes sense, you actually go back here and there's a prog that is somehow existing in real life. And it gives you a power-up, because I really don't know why he gives you a power-up.
He's like, oh no, you found me! Go away! Distraction! Shiny thing! I was watching someone do a 100% playthrough of this for the first time on stream, and they're like, I'm missing a power-up, and I said, I know which one! They had a really good reaction to it. Oh, but here's the best comps in the game. They're very confusing.
I like them a lot. I think they're really well done.
Oh, something internet radiation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the sound defense gives a quote for, there's a guy outside the building, and he says, I can't move where I want because of the radiation. Because he looks like he's walking forward, but he's sliding sideways. So we kind of take that to mean that something's wrong with his walking, but a few people give it a more serious translation to, because of where the irradiation is, I have to avoid certain areas. That one's not as funny though.
Nah, the other one's better.
Dimensional area, activate.
Yeah, the gimmick is we're just fixing a bunch of the radiation and stuff. That way the teleports take us to where they're supposed to take us.
Yeah. Each one you fix opens up another floor on the elevator, and you basically have to get the one that'll fix the 30th floor, the penthouse suites.
Now, casually, the most common way to do it is fix one area, then go to the real world, and then go up the elevator, and then work on the next area. We don't do that. We do 2 trips, and they're all on the 2nd floor.
It is fortunate, I guess, that you don't have to go to any of the floors. As long as you like do things in the correct order, you can do everything from the 2nd floor.
It's really nice, because otherwise that'd be a huge time sink.
Oh, and if anyone is concerned about Lance's health, don't worry. He has an invisible matching his exact same outfit radiation suit, good up to 20,000 times normal radiation. So he'll be perfectly fine. All of his friends also have suits like that. Where did they come from? Well, you see, Yai's rich, and her father's company just has them. Don't ask questions. Shoutouts to Elbit42.
042. Like 420. Equals power level when Raditz shows up. Also matches our health. Scramble. I remember you were talking about how you got breakfast before this run. Oh, I want dinner. Quite late. But I want dinner. So this part's actually super duper important not to mess up. We could actually put in the 42 L-bit right now, but then we would miss out on the most important L-bit, the EV L-bit. That helps us get to the boss rushes and advance the plot. I also think that's how you get the 430. Messing this up and putting this in early is really disgusting time sink. It's not a hard mistake to fix, but it's time consuming.
Yeah, I don't even know. Like, what floor do you have to go to? Do you know?
22.
Oh, and the guy doing the 100% run was missing 1 HP memory, and I told him floor 9. Talk to the door. Because that makes sense.
Yeah, so Elbit 42 is the only one that you don't want to put in as soon as you get it. 22 seems like it's the right number, but I feel like I'm kind of just pulling a number out of my butt.
It's okay. We'll never need that information.
Hope not. Imagine being like a minute ahead and making that mistake. Do it. Yes! Aha! The elegance of the turn frame.
Literally faster. Fast strats.
I'm super particular about how I handle my my sneak running here. If you notice, I delayed starting it. The biggest reason why I did that is so it can stretch out long enough, because I don't want to use a 3rd sneak run. So it's going to wear off when we come back to this spot. Just a sec. Which is nice because you don't want the sneak run to run out after saving and resetting and going for a manipulation, because then you have to reposition yourself and resave and etc, etc. And we're off right here.
Yeah. Sneak run, when it runs it out, reset your step counter. Most transitions reset your step counter. Works to different areas, not the same area though. And every time your step counter resets, that it resets your chance of getting an encounter. So we take advantage of that.
Dash was slot 7, so Buster Quickman 3 times. And take a hit. Behold, as these bosses that we kind of sort of struggled with not really, but, you know, they die with ease.
Behold these bosses who were not completely trivial, now are. But yeah, that manipulation, it's a gauntlet, so it's particular, and you have to figure out what your RNG is based off of your chip draw, and then do the fights accordingly so that you get Prism in all the fights.
It's actually a recent manipulation too. I changed the manipulations a few days ago for these boss gauntlets, and that one just worked. The draw where you get dash in slot 7 seems to be a lot more consistent than if you don't get dash, but I think the mistake I made when I was initially testing it was I went too fast. Oh, shoot. I thought he was gonna hit me before I hit him. That's not how it went.
Yeah.
He's slow.
Going too fast. Too fast.
Now, to compensate for the fact that we had to do that, I have to buster him once. And now Freeze Man will suffer the same fate that he already suffered once. Hello, buddy. Yeah, dash in slot 7 in these gauntlets is key, because if you do that, you do slightly less work. Otherwise, you have to do slightly different things. I gotta do my last folder edit here. We do the Walk of Doom. Best part of the manip. So this manip is actually super duper complicated. Or if you want to explain why it's harder than the others.
I can't believe that it works. So, RNG's advancing except when you're on the menu, and Keizaron's basically trying to get to the final boss within that same frame window. So to get consistent movement, he's going to run into every wall because your movement around corners is kind of finicky. But if you run all the way to the edge and then back, it's consistent, which is why he's bouncing around so much. And then he also has to use a sneak run, so he's got to like go to the menu, mash A through the sneak run consistently, and then skip the cutscene while holding start, and then get the boss fight and figure out what his RNG is based off the chip draw, let base move a certain number of times, and press that.
Now, if we did that right, this will chain into the best thing ever. Hello, friend. Who's ready for the best sound effects? So good.
That will never get old.
That will never get old. And time happens as soon as we hear the ding from our pet, which is right now.
I'm gonna sync it up with the video. There we go. You got about a 217.40-ish.
Underestimate. That's good. I was hoping to get a 215, but that beginning was a little rough because I don't know what messed with the initial guard star minute, but that's okay. We're still a significant amount under, and we got to show off some things too.
Yeah, like the silver, like the Dominator fight on it. So that was Battle Network 2. Hope you guys liked that. This was, I guess, our only demonstration of RNG manipulation in the marathon this year. It's pretty cool stuff. It's amazing what you can get away with in the first 3 games. They changed it in 4, so it's not quite viable, but
yeah. So Battle Network 3 uses hard resetting for its manipulations, correct?
it's a mix.
Okay.
Like hard resetting restarts RNG 1, soft resetting restarts RNG 2. RNG 1 controls virus encounter types and chip draws, and then RNG 2 controls everything else. So like Gamble Manip is a soft reset, Windstar Manip is a hard reset. Most folder stacks are hard reset.
1 and 2, you just use soft resets. You don't have to worry about those hard resets.
Yep, because they only had one RNG value. They tried to get a little more complicated. They completely changed, almost, how RNG works in every single Battle Network game, but it doesn't matter past 4 because RTA viable it is not.
Which is unfortunate. Now, I believe that 4 had tournament manip, and that was it.
Yeah, well, so Battle Network 4 saves your RNG seed or value. So whenever you save and then load it back up, it doesn't reset the RNG. However, if you corrupt your save file so there isn't one, there's no RNG to load. So it always starts from the same value. So without a save file, you can RNG manip what frame you start the game on, which is what determines the tournament boards. So, kinda. I don't think anyone has done RTA attempts with tournament manipulation, but Marco did use it in the task.
Now we get to see what our in-game time is, because that's very important.
Yeah, the game time is neat because like any failed manip, since you reset, will not be represented in your game time.
We did it. 206. I was so underestimated. Well, that's Battle Network 2, and that's the Japanese route where we absolutely demolish everything with cheats and be filthy cheaters.
Yeah, it's definitely neat, definitely different. Battle Network speedruns are honestly quite lacking in glitches, so.
A quick shout out to Doisum, Terra, and Montebank, because they really helped with figuring out the routing for the English route, which a lot of that translated to this. And shout outs to everyone who stayed up late. If it's late for you to watch this, appreciate it.
Yeah, we're glad that so many people are still interested in Battle Network and have really appreciated the chat and the comments from everyone, so thank you for all that.
And up next we have Star Force 2.
Yes. So up next we've got Mega Man Star Force 2, any percent using cards by Ghost Skip. I can never pronounce his name correctly, but that is our only representation of Star Force in the marathon. So stick around for that, because the Star Force series, they're different than Battle Network, but they're still good games, and the speedruns are pretty cool. So we'll get that set up, and I guess Keizaron, if you're good with shoutouts and everything, we'll transition to setup.
Bye, guys.
All right, and hang around and chat while we set up for the next run. We will do more Quiz King. So have fun and good luck with that. See you all in a bit.
I get to get dinner now, yes.